Hi, and welcome to Series 2 on Nail Theory, Healthcare for Skin and Nails by Trieu London. So in the previous video, we went over contraindications and nail disorders. We will now be going over, which is part 2 of the series, which is nail diseases and skin diseases. The main difference between disorders and the diseases is that disorders can actually still be treated, whereas if your client does have a disease, then they may, more often than not, they will need to be referred to a GP, and they will need to come back with a GP referral letter allowing them to have the treatment. So let's get started. So nail diseases must always be referred to a client's GP or pharmacist before treating a serious infection or damage can actually be caused. So if a client is referred to a GP, they must return with a GP referral letter before being treated. So as I said before, in the previous video, I will not be including images. This is something for you to actually Google so that you're aware of. So you can just simply type in the spelling into Google Images and look at a range of nail diseases. Let's start with our first big word. It's pronounced Pseudomonas, and this is what it is. So it's a bacterial infection that can occur between the natural nail plate and the nail bed, or even between the artificial nail and the natural nail plate. Usually leads to green discoloration, could possibly lead to other coloration such as blue, and is generally some type of mold. Pseudomonas thrive in moist places. It feeds off dead tissue and bacteria in the nail plate, while moisture levels allow it to actually grow. What can happen is that if your nail plate does suffer from Pseudomonas, then nail plates can darken and soften underneath the artificial nail coat. The general rule is that the darker it is, the deeper into the nail plate and the nail layers it has gone into. The next nail disease is onychocsis. So it's a fungal infection, and it's a health condition that actually causes thickening of the nails. It's observed both in fingernails and toenails. It's more common in older people than younger people, and it's also known as hypertrophy of the nail. As it's a health condition, it's usually caused by diabetes, circulation problems, psoriasis, or trauma. And if it's left untreated, the nail can become discolored, turning white, black, yellow, or even red. You should be able to see this in the images. One other nail disease that we're quite familiar with is warts. So these are viruses that enter the skin through small cuts or scratches. And some warts actually don't visibly appear and can actually be with you for as long as 24 months without appearing. Don't treat any clients with this infection without a GP consent form. The next nail disease is onychotrophia or onychotrophia atrophy. And what this basically is the wasting away of the nail plate, which causes it to lose its luster, become small, and actually sometimes shed entirely. For this, injury or disease might be the cause of this. The next nail disease is paronychia. So it's a bacterial infection of the skin just next to the nail. The infected nail's fold looks swollen, inflamed, and maybe tender. There might even be a small collection of pus and swelling. If it's left untreated, then the nail itself will become infected and damaged. So this actually happens around the nail fold, which is the side of the nails. But if you don't treat it, it can spread into the nail. The next nail disease we have is onycholysis. So what it basically is a separation of the nail plate from the nail bed on both your fingers and toes. It's quite gradual and painless, and it can happen due to a number of reasons, including trauma and fungal infection. It's quite common in adulthood more than childhood. Can be symptomatic, so with other skin disease infections. It could be allergic reactions to some compounds like acrylic nail products, or consequence of an injury, or hyperactive thyroid glands. So that's it for nail diseases. We will now move on to skin diseases and disorders. So during your treatment, you might come across some diseases and disorders on the hands and arms, which might actually restrict you from the treatment or some part of the treatment. So you need to actually work around them. Some will actually fully contraindicate, which means prevent you from carrying out the treatment, which means you'll need a GP referral. And therefore, it's your responsibility to carry out a client consultation. As I mentioned throughout this video, I purposely not included images so that you can actually see specific nail diseases in their various forms. So let's start. Eczema is quite a common one we should all be aware of, and it's applied to a range of skin conditions. This includes dryness, recurrent skin rashes, and are more or usually described by the following symptoms. So we've got redness, skin swelling, itching, crusting, flaking, blistering, cracking, oozing, or bleeding of the skin. Scratching any healing lesion or eczema patch can lead to possible permanent scarring and even enlarged rash. So in terms of the treatment, its severity affects the restrictions. So if it's not a severe condition of eczema, then you could possibly go ahead. If it's very severe, then you need to make sure that the client is referred. If you're working around, say, for example, a small area, then take out the massages completely and maybe just do the cuticle and nail work for that specific area. Next skin disorder is psoriasis. So it's pronounced psoriasis. That looks like psoriasis. I'll put in a Y instead. Psoriasis. The disorder is chronic recurring condition that varies in severity from minor localized patches to complete body coverage. So it's a chronic disorder. So it's the fingernails and toenails that are frequently affected. Psoriatic nail dystrophy and can be seen as isolated signs. It can also cause inflammation to the joints, which is also known as psoriatic arthritis. If the condition is only present in the skin, then take out the massage completely and only work on the nails. If, however, it's on the nail plate, then a GP referral is required and you do not carry out treatment until the referral comes back. The next nail skin disease or disorder is dermatophytosis, which is quite a big word. So it's dermatophytosis. And it's basically, in short, a ringworm. It's a clinical condition caused by fungal infection of the skin in humans, pets, such as cats, and domesticated animals such as sheep and cattle. It's caused by fungi of several different species and not by parasitic worms. So the dermaphytes feed on the keratin, so that's protein in your skin, hair, nails. Then thrive on skin which is actually warm and moist, but may also survive on directly on the outsides of the hair shafts and the interiors. The next skin disease is impetigo. So impetigo, and it's a highly contagious bacterial skin infection, usually quite common in preschool kids. So those who might play a lot of heavy contact sports such as rugby, American football, and wrestling are very susceptible to this, regardless of age. But it's not very common in adults. The condition always requires a GP referral and should only be taken up if the GP referral gives a go-ahead. It's important to note that this condition is highly contagious and can be spread, generally known as school sores. The next one you might be more familiar with is scabies. So it's a contagious skin infection caused by the mite. The mite is a tiny and usually not directly visible parasite which burrows under the skin's host, causing intense allergic reaction. So it's a tiny, small, and not directly visible parasite. The infection in animals other than humans is caused by different but related mite species, and it's called sarcoptic mange. You won't really need to know that, but what you do need to know is it always requires a GP referral, and no treatment should be taken until the GP consent has been given back. And it's important to note that it's highly contagious and can spread. So that's it for today. We've gone over nail diseases and skin disorders and diseases. So series 2 is quite short. Just remember to, 1, know what the diseases are and what their effects are. 2, how to pronounce the actual diseases. And 3, visibly be aware. So Google image each of the nail diseases, disorders, and skin disorders, so that when you're treating your client, you're aware and can advise them correctly or refer them to a GP. So thank you for watching. And the next series, we will be going over nail anatomy and nail physiology. What that will include is structure of the bones in the hands and arms, muscles in the hands and arms, and why and how these muscles connect and what their purposes are. So definitely more technical, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you for watching.